When you think of salt, what comes to mind? A simple seasoning, something common in everyday life? Well, in the Bible, salt goes far beyond that. It is a powerful spiritual weapon, used by God to purify, preserve, and even seal divine pacts. But there is a hidden truth about salt that few know about. Did you know that it can break curses and bring blessings into your life? Most people have no idea of the spiritual potential hidden in this element that is so simple, yet so profound. Stay with us and discover and practice 4 uses of this important tool in everyday life. In the rush of everyday life, we forget to look at what really has power. And salt, which Jesus mentioned when he called us salt of the earth, carries with it a divine purpose. It is not just a seasoning, it is a symbol of our spiritual power, something that can transform realities when used with faith. And believe me, what I am going to tell you here can change the way you see salt forever. Are you ready to discover this secret hidden in the Scriptures? If you have been seeking something deeper in your walk with God, it is time to understand the true spiritual power that salt can bring to your life. When Jesus told his disciples that they were the salt of the earth, he was revealing the divine purpose of each one of us. Just as salt preserves and gives flavor, we also have a mission to be instruments of God, spreading blessings and breaking curses around us. Prayer plays a fundamental role in this process, strengthening our spiritual power and allowing Jesus to act in our lives in a deeper way. Have you ever stopped to think how a simple act of faith can change everything? The spiritual power of salt goes beyond the physical. By praying and using salt as a symbol, we connect our faith to the divine purpose. Just as in ancient times, salt was used to preserve food, today, it preserves our faith in difficult times. Imagine yourself, with an open heart, in a sincere prayer, seeking guidance from God and asking Him to purify everything around you. Salt, in this context, becomes a spiritual weapon, capable of blessing and protecting against negative influences. However, the secret lies in understanding the true meaning of what Jesus meant. Being the salt of the earth means being a light, a guide, and one who brings hope and divine purpose to others. It is not enough to simply use salt physically, your faith must be aligned with the spiritual power it represents. In this way, prayer, combined with this understanding, becomes a powerful act that can transform lives. And this is just the first lesson on this path. When we look at salt with the eyes of faith, we realize that it is a sacred tool, given by God to protect and purify us. In ancient times, it was used not only to preserve food, but also as a symbol of covenants. In the same way, it can be a reminder of our covenant with God, reinforcing the need to keep our spiritual life pure and aligned with the teachings of Jesus. Imagine the power of a prayer said with a heart full of faith, using salt as a symbol of this divine covenant. When used wisely and prayerfully, it becomes a powerful spiritual weapon, capable of protecting and strengthening us. And so, the next spiritual element of this journey begins to reveal itself. The use of salt dates back to ancient times and also had value as a currency. This reveals its practical and spiritual importance throughout history. Interestingly, some cultures have distorted this use, transforming salt into something negative in certain rituals. However, the video makes it clear that these distortions are the work of the enemy. In the context of the Christian faith, its use is consecrated, aligned with the divine purpose, and restores salt to its true function, to preserve faith and protect against evil. Are you ready to learn these techniques? Let's go! Environmental purification. Salt can be used to purify environments and protect against negative energies. To do this, place a small amount of salt in an open container and leave it in a strategic location in your home, such as near the entrance or in a corner of the room. The idea is for the salt to absorb negative vibrations and keep the environment lighter and more harmonious. You can also say a prayer while placing the salt, asking God to bless and protect the space, reinforcing its spiritual power. Personal protection. For personal protection, you can use salt in prayer rituals. One method is to make a salt barrier around your home or room. Place a continuous line of salt around the entrances to doors and windows, creating a kind of physical and spiritual protection. During the application, pray for God's protection against any negative influence, and for His constant presence in your home. This symbolic use of salt helps to create a sacred and protected space. Cleansing and protecting the body. Take your usual bath, and at the end, use a portion of salt and water to pour from the neck down. Consecration of objects. Choose an object of special meaning, such as a rosary, a Bible, or even an amulet. Place a little salt on the object and say a prayer of consecration, asking God to bless and protect it. This act can strengthen your faith and connect the object with the divine purpose, helping to constantly remind you of God's presence in your life. These methods, when performed with faith and intention, can help integrate the spiritual power of salt into your daily life. In the scriptures, salt is compared to anointing oil. It has the power to consecrate. Salt also carries this spiritual essence, being a symbol of purity and divine alliance. By understanding this truth, Christians become stronger and become active agents in God's purpose. In the same way that oil anoints and seals a person to God, salt, in many Christian traditions, purifies and protects. Imagine the depth of a prayer made with the understanding that salt represents the covenant with God. By praying for protection, using salt as a symbol, the believer connects with the spiritual power that Jesus wanted us to exercise on earth, being true ambassadors of His light. Salt, in addition to being a symbol of purification, also plays an important role in the covenants, and even in the curses mentioned in the Bible. A strong example of this is Lot's wife, who, when she disobeyed divine instruction, was transformed into a pillar of salt. This episode teaches us that salt not only purifies, but can also seal covenants and exercise God's justice. It has the power to mark decisive moments, whether for blessing or judgment. Understanding this duality makes us see salt as something sacred, to be used with wisdom and faith. When we talk about salt in the Bible, its three main attributes, purification, covenant, and curse, emerge as reminders of the seriousness with which we must treat the divine purpose. When praying, it is essential to remember that salt can seal spiritual covenants, and even bring judgment upon those who disobey God's laws. Have you ever stopped to reflect on the hidden power that salt can bring to your life? From the teachings we have explored, it is clear that salt is not just a physical element, but a powerful spiritual tool when used with faith and purpose. Now that you know this truth, how do you intend to apply this knowledge? Are you ready to transform your life and the lives of others with the power of prayer and salt? Applying this knowledge may be what is needed for a significant transformation in your life. Start incorporating this spiritual practice into your daily life today and see the changes that God can bring. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate notifications to continue learning about the use of divine elements and strengthen your faith. The spiritual journey is continuous, and each step taken is an achievement in the search for divine purpose. How about taking that step now and discovering more about how these teachings can positively impact your life? If you like this content, leave your like, comment, and share. If you want to receive messages that talk about God, subscribe to the channel.